You got, it's all right. You can pull in the Danny Glover references. That's fine. We're all over that. Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, what we're going to do is Clem will just do a nice little intro here and welcome you. We'll invite you to tell us about yourself. So think of something cool that you can say. And then we'll dive into some of these questions and just see where the discussion leads us. We're like the queens of tangents. So if we go off on one, it's all good. Do you have any time limits? Do you have something right after this that we need to make sure we wrap up?
7:30 in Baltimore at the moment?
It is. It's 7:24. I'm flying out in the morning to North Carolina because I'm keynoting a huge real estate seminar for like Real. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. They're kind of like EXP.
Yeah.
But I have to get up like 6 in the morning, and I don't do that anymore.
We have toddlers, so we're up at 5. So
that's fucking nuts to me. So I'm like, I try to like limit my caffeine tonight, and I was like, and then I told Nikki, I was like, I have to I'm doing this podcast at 7:50. She's like, oh great, you're gonna be all wired because I know how you get after those things, and then you want to stay up, and I'm like, no. I was like, stretch my back, I'll go to bed. I don't know.
We can do some calming breaths at the end of it. Not that I would know how to do that, but you know. All right. Well, I reckon should we dive in without further ado? And let's get this party started. Maybe that could be my new sign off. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me just get ready. There we go. And do you ever feel like you're the little fish in a big pond on social? It seems like every man and their dog is providing the same product or service as you, saying the same benefits as you, but they are absolutely killing it on social. It's not easy building a following and a reputation online, and it's certainly not any easier when you're in a saturated and competitive market. And this type of scenario and what you can do to make that pond just a little bit smaller is exactly what we're going to be talking about today with our guest, Todd Collins. With over 10 years of online reputation management, branding, and social media marketing, Todd has become a go-to in the restaurant, real estate, and automotive industry on how to strategize for the best results. That 10 years of experience has helped him become a marketing heavyweight and social media star. Todd has amassed over 150,000 followers on TikTok, over 75,000 followers on Instagram, all thanks to his transparent and no-fluff attitude towards educating businesses on how to make their mark in the digital space. Todd, welcome to the Mad Marketing Mums.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. No, we really appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into digital marketing.
Yeah, I'm going to preface it with the introduction there that I appreciate you saying heavyweight and superstar and all that stuff, but I don't think of myself like that whatsoever, just so you know. And that's why, like, I know this happens to you guys too. Like when you're up on, like, if you're speaking in public and they'll be like social media guru. And I literally tell them prior, I'm like, just say that, like, I'm a content creator. But they don't do that. They go like, they try to hype you up to be this like amazing thing, and then you're like in a position where you're like, oh, now I'm going to deflate the entire audience. So I appreciate it, but I would like to flip that back around to you two ladies. Yeah, getting into this was technically, it was like kind of I was lucky enough to have a best friend that was in the reputation management field. He was looking for someone that could sell the product for him because he just did not have the ability to sell. He didn't like talking to people, was more of an introvert. And I was lucky enough to be given that opportunity years ago. We built up a very good online defamation removal company way back. I'm talking when Yahoo and Google were competitors, actually, where my age group, Yahoo was the chosen search engine over Google when Google first came out. That's how far back we go with this.
How you say my age group? How old do you think we are?
I don't know. I'm putting you younger than me. So I'm just saying experience-wise age group. I'm not digging you're not going to dig me into a hole.
No, don't worry.
So I was just lucky enough to get an opportunity. And then as clients, you guys know what this is like. As clients, the agency started to grow when we launched the agency. As that started to grow, we were lucky enough to be in a position where we were just coming into the reputation management field when Yelp came out, and it was just in that it was just good timing So we were able to build a really strong agency off of that. And the clients kept saying, well, do you guys do this? Well, do you guys do this? Well, do you guys do this? And I just kept going as a typical fixer, which my partner at the time was not. I was just like, yeah, of course we do it. And then I was like, we got to build a thing quick. And like, and that's how we did it. That's literally how I got myself into it. And then speaking about Yahoo, like we were talking about, I was super lucky to get connected with a guy by the name of Dennis Yu, who was one of the very first teams on Yahoo years and years and years ago, and then ended up doing the social media for the Golden State Warriors and Adidas and Rosetta Stone, Nike, and things like that. That would be a great guy to have on your podcast, by the way. And
I'm going to stalk him in the next second.
He's amazing. I can't tell you enough about the guy. I mean, pretty much everything that I ended up learning when it came to creating content, what clients were looking for, how to properly run ads, it all came from him. And that guy is forgotten more than anybody will ever know. I don't believe he's gotten enough. I don't think he's gotten the clout that he deserves, but he's got major respect in the people that know this world. He's gotten major respect. So that's really how it kind of all started for me. And then I just went down the rabbit hole like...
It's funny that you say that he doesn't get the respect or the clout that he deserves. I find sometimes the best people to mentor you, to follow, to absorb and learn from are the quiet achievers, not the ones that are making so much noise that everybody else is following. So I 100% agree with what you've said. I mean, quite a few people that I think I admire and follow, just they're not that big and they don't mind to be. They just want to teach and they just want to share their knowledge, which is great.
Yeah, he's more he's more privately educated, and from that standpoint where he likes to work with people, offline. He has a pretty good social media presence. I mean, he's, he was, I always give him like props because he was like one of the first people verified on Twitter, like originally. So it was like, I mean, to be verified in the field that we're in on any platform is a pretty big deal. And most of the time, if you're in our field and you're verified, it was probably because you were a musician or an athlete prior. So you're not like verified for being good at marketing. Like, so it's just one of those things. And he was just one of those guys that like everybody, if they were in the business, they know who this guy is. And he's like that powerful when it comes to the stuff that he's done. But he makes you work hard. He makes you learn it the right way. And most people don't want to do business that way. He really, truly makes you create the right plumbing when you're starting your ads correctly and everything else like that. So most of his clients, that's why he has Nike, Rosetta Stone, Adidas, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something we try and educate our clients and even our listeners on the podcast. It's, they come, going, the sky is falling, or, very much, I'm just stuck and I don't know what to do. And it's like, you got to get those foundations right. If you get those foundations right, the headaches that you have become so much smaller, or they just don't exist.
Yeah. I always compare it to building a house. It's like, you can't build a house from the roof down.
Exactly.
You have to build up from the base up and the foundation up. And the foundational part is typically the hardest part. And it's the part that most people struggle with. You have to lift large cinder block. You have to get very sweaty, and you'll get very irritated, and it takes a while, and it takes more than one person, and it's all these things. And that's where, typically everyone else just kind of falls off and they don't make it. And, I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have here is that there's somebody had set in place or set a time limit on the expectation of success on here. And I don't know where that came from, but somehow they've gotten their expectations very twisted.
It's from a marketer. We ruin everything, don't we?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've heard that quote before, but I honestly don't think we do. I think most marketers now have come back around and kind of been like, we're bringing you back to reality for a second. Okay.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants a shortcut, right? That's just human nature. Like, we're inherently lazy. That's just what our brains do, right? So I'm sure, it applies to everything, including business.
Yeah. What do you think the first couple questions are going to be when I hit that stage Wednesday? How do I get more followers?
It'll be, how do I get more followers? Yeah, exactly.
How do I go viral?
How do I go viral? It's the same, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So this is what we really care about.
Yeah. But
vanity.
Why? But why?
Vanity of it, right? But how I've always gone like, how does that equate to your wallet? Like
Mhm.
that's where I really tried to kind of get people to get. I have a client who has 285,000 Instagram followers, about 2.5 million TikTok followers. Average views on her videos on Reels are like probably 150 to 200,000 per post. She had one a couple days ago that hit 6 million, 6.1 million. Now,
Wow.
6 million on a reel is like heavy
Unheard of.
duty. Yeah, I mean, that is insanity when I looked at it. And she's like, I need to get more of that. And I'm like, well, let's talk about this for a second. The 6.1 million views equaled out to about 5,000 new followers, right? Which was a big problem for you. It was something that you were complaining about, that you haven't had really a bunch of new followers since like last June. Like it would be trickle in, they kind of trickle out, right? We know that Instagram kind of went through that situation where a lot of people lost followers, right? Because they were getting rid of bots and stuff like that, which is a good thing. And I said, let me ask you a question real quick. The 5,000 new followers, the 6.1 million views, any of that stuff. I said, how are you going to make money off those 5,000 people? And she's like, well, I'm probably not. I'm like, okay, well then why do you care how many followers you have? I said, I would be more concerned about the 392 people that commented on that post, and you discussing and talking and responding to those 392 people, and then creating a very connected relationship there. Now you've got these loyal followers. They're going to go out. They're going to share your content. Another brand's going to see you. Like she's already sponsored by L'Oreal and Dove, things like they're going to see her stuff. And I'm like, that's the stuff that matters. I said, you're so concerned about these numbers, and these numbers mean absolutely positively nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
But it's what the obsession is about. So
yeah,
it's concerning.
Exactly. Well, so today we are, and I think this all really leads in really nicely, is to really focusing on what does matter when you are showing up online. And for our audience, a lot of them are time poor parents in business who want to, I guess, cut through the fluff and the BS and these vanity metrics and just start doing things that actually move the needle in their business, that actually put money in their banks. But one thing we've kind of encountered a lot is, people who do work in a saturated or a competitive market, and they're sort of going, well, how do I stand out? How do I make myself different? In a feed of 2 billion people, I think Instagram just hit, what is it that I think people are, I guess, first of all, we want to talk about how to do that, but also perhaps what are some of the misconceptions or mistakes you see business owners making when they are approaching their marketing in the first place?
I think one of the first things that businesses have issues with is they compare themselves to someone else. They bring immediately to the table, I really like what these guys are doing over here. We really like to do what they're doing. And again, that the first things that we talk about when that conversation starts is, well, they've got more followers and they seem to have more engagement on their posts and this, that, and everything else. And then when I do a little teeny tiny bit of research and I look at it and I go, oh, they started their TikTok back in 2018. Oh, they started their Instagram back when you could use the oversaturated picture filter on Instagram. Oh, okay. You started your Instagram 3 weeks ago. You started your TikTok a week and a half ago. And the content that's on there is you've got 3 posts over the last, like 3 weeks. So I think one of the biggest things is just kind of staying in your own lane and figuring out what works for you, using some of the things that you like and see, but then kind of reworking them in your own way. And I think that's where like that uniqueness of content kind of comes into play. One of the main things is trying to figure out the story behind the business and how can we tell that story? How can we find some characters within the business that we can utilize? A lot of the times we try to narrow it down to 1 or 2 people. I really like bringing an entire team in and working with an entire team and finding multiple characters to use, almost like a TV show.
Like social media champions within the business.
Yeah. And I can tell you that there's a few clients that I have where I've built off, that's that mothership strategy that I talk about. And that mothership strategy that I've utilized for a couple of different clients, I can tell you has worked every single time. So it builds the confidence of the people that are utilizing the business. It builds confidence in the C-level that goes, oh, okay, this is really working. Our team seems to be having fun creating content, but they're also getting the job done. We're starting to at this point create leads and awareness around our brand. And now we have an array of movement between different types of creators within that team that can also be replaceable over time. So if Johnny leaves, we can replace him with Mark that we just brought in. So it might not be as good as Johnny, but it doesn't really matter because we can continue to replace, train, things like that. So that's why I like that mothership strategy. And that's usually the first thing that I kind of bring up is, well, who do we have currently in the business that's employed by you that has their own social media and seems to enjoy it internally?
Yeah, because a lot of people would be saying it's the social media manager's job to create all the content.
No, incorrect.
Right? At a CEO level, or, whereas the social media strategist is going, no, I need content from everybody to build out this picture of the organization. So yeah, I like that mothership strategy.
Well, so you're essentially saying, I guess, you're enforcing collaboration internally.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, which is I find, at least with some clients that I've worked with, is a huge problem. It's a disconnect, and there's almost still that hierarchy around the CEO is not going to bother to do that, when really in the end, a lot of people want to get to know who the CEO is and how they got there, and and all of those stories that are behind there as well. So you're doing almost a HR's job at the same time as creating that mothership social media marketing process within a business.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the pushback that you're going to get from C-level, right? I mean, Unfortunately, that's just one of those situations that's going to happen. And what you need to do is there's one or two ways to kind of go about that. One, you need to basically say, hey, listen, I've proven that this strategy works. Here are examples, right? And I even tell like friends of mine that are in marketing, I'm like, here, use my examples, and you can use it and show this works, right? Here's the growth. Here's what it's done. It's the right way to do it. And the examples are there. The expectations been set in place, and then the proof is there as well. That social proof is there. The second part of that for you guys, especially being marketers, and this is for if you guys are marketers and you have your ears on right now, at that point you have to go, this might not be a good fit, because I can see, and I can tell you this from being in this business for long enough, immediately when you start getting that type of pushback in just a minimal, small idea of what could work, and you start getting pushback already, this is probably not a good fit. Your mind is not even open to possibly trying new things and testing new things to finally find out what works. And if we can't even have that open discussion in the very beginning, I would like to send you down the road to this person I don't like.
Yes.
Which I've done.
Yeah.
I think Crystal and I have both done that as well before.
You have every right to. You have absolutely every right to do that. I'm this close right now to firing somebody. This close, and I've done it before, and I will probably do it again. And it's just once I find a client that is causing me stress on a day that I'm not talking to them, it's time for them to leave.
Yep.
Not to change the subject that we were on, but for the marketers out there, I believe you got to think like that, right? I mean, you're going to enjoy this a lot more if you work with people you like.
Oh, 100%. And if you ask the right questions during that, discovery call, the onboarding process, one of the first ones that I always ask is, are you willing to get on camera and talk to camera? Because if they say no, then that's it. Conversation's over. Because they can't build, especially for solopreneurs and for service providers, you are the product. You can't hide behind your physical products. You have to get on there and sell yourself, which, if we're thinking back to that mothership strategy and the idea of bringing in these different characters, incredible if you've got a team. What if you are just a solopreneur? How are you then translating that for your business?
Well, interestingly enough, I have a couple people that I work with that are again, this goes back into that first call that you have, right? What other things are you into? I have a couple people that are solopreneurs, but also have a background in drama. And I later find out, I'm going, oh, interesting. You have background in drama. Yeah, I was in plays and stuff when I was in high school. Really? Okay. So you're open to maybe creating a few other characters? Okay. And so I have a couple real estate agents that I work with that have multiple characters that they play, right? and you don't know which character you're going to get on any given day. So there's that. There's other ones where I've brought in other creators as technically they're contracted, but they're creators that operate on behalf of that business, right? So you just because you're by yourself doesn't necessarily mean you're truly by yourself when creating content. Now, if you were by yourself, you can't act, you don't know how to do characters, you can't dance. You're the only thing you can really do is you're cool with turning on the camera and having your face on it. Then the best thing that you can do, especially today and nowadays, and this is just where I think where we're going with the solopreneurs, is what you guys are doing right now, where you're documenting people, including yourselves, having a open conversation. You're recording it in audio and video format that can be chopped up in smaller pieces of content that can be distributed back to whatever YouTube channel you're trying to promote, or business that you're trying to promote, whatever you're trying to promote, right? 2, you're leveraging someone else's audience. So, when you create a piece of content, and Clem did this, when she created that piece of content for me, if you know what you're doing, and I know what she's doing, she created a piece of content and I go, thank you for creating that content. I'm now going to share your content to my stories. So then if someone on my story sees Clem and goes, oh, she's kind of cute, I like her, she seems like she's bubbly and she has a good sense of humor and she kind of knows what she's talking about, I'm going to give her a follow too. I better follow them because I want to know when the podcast comes out. When you guys cut it up into shorter pieces of content, you put it out. You don't think I'm going to repost it? Of course I am. You're leveraging off of my own ego. It's the smartest move in the book.
Yeah, right.
I know what you're doing. I do it too. So that, I believe, is one of those things where they find these people that they can have open conversations with and create content from there. Have one-on-ones with other people inside their business. Have conversations like that. I mean, if you don't think I'm exteriorly recording this, you're out of your mind. The minute this is over, this goes to my editor, and the editors start going, bip, 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 and they start chopping it up. Why? Because I'm on the road for the next 3 days. I'm probably not going to be making content. So this gives them something to do, but it also gets me a nice cushion where I'm creating content for myself, right? But I'm having a conversation with someone else. Stitches and duets and remixes. Another way to leverage someone else's content if you're on your own to then drive views, awareness, notifications to other people. So these are all ways, if you're on your own, to create content. These are all ways that you can create content and not even talk.
Yes.
And these are ways also to cut through that noise a little bit as well, because those candid conversations are so much more powerful because it's not scripted and you don't come off as fake. You come off as genuine. I don't want to say authentic because that word's just been used way too many fucking times in 2022. Genuine.
Oh, there we go.
I like
Explicit episode. Yep. We've just done it.
Sorry, not sorry.
He's a real authentic guy. Okay.
Authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure like I never put that in my profile. Authentic guy. Nope, he's genuine.
Excellent.
So I'm sure you've seen it. It's kind of just been this undercurrent, at least on TikTok in the last, say, week and a half of no, don't niche down. No, don't niche down. You know, go broad or go home sort of thing. Which team are you in? Because Crystal and I have spoken about it a little bit, and we're kind of a little bit on the fence. Like, we think it really just depends on who you are and what the brand is, really, to which way to go. But what are your thoughts?
I think this is a great question because, you know, there's people out there that have a lot of followers and have a lot of people that trust their advice, and they're saying, don't niche down. But then there's other people out there that are saying, make sure to stick to your niche. I think that we're trying to overanalyze the word niche or niche, which I can't stand that word, number one. And if I don't like a word, like my favorite word in the world is cornucopia. I think that is one of the best words on the planet. It slides off your tongue beautifully. But the word niche just rubs me the wrong way. Because I think what that does, I think the word niche, I think what it does is it really narrows you down into this one sector of person that you are. And once you've decided this is who your digital footprint is, then you're stuck. And you can't go the other way. So, for example, and I'll give you an example, right? So when I go TikTok live, sometimes I like to stream Fortnite while I'm going TikTok live. You can ask me marketing questions, but we're also, my son and I, or both my sons, or both my sons and my daughter, we're all playing Fortnite down here at the exact same time. We're streaming the game, so people that are into gaming can watch the gaming. People that are into marketing can watch the gaming, listen, laugh, watch us have a good time, whatever it is. But they can also ask questions while I'm answering, because my kids are obviously carrying me through the game because I suck. So I'm able to answer those questions. But what it does is it creates a dual connection at that point, where then there are some entrepreneurs or other marketers or other business owners in there that like to play Fortnite, and that are my age, whatever. They're just having a good time. They like gaming. It's okay to do that now. It's okay to say that you're in your 30s or 40s and you like gaming. I grew up, with Nintendo and Nintendo 64 and 007, which is coming back. And I think you're allowed to kind of double niche that way. And I believe it or not, on those lives, I've gotten leads because I deliver the content that way. Not just me sitting in front of a camera going, anybody have any marketing questions? Yeah, you should probably niche down. Yeah, you just be consistent.
Be authentic.
Yeah.
Be the authentic you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's verbal vomit. It's the minutia that you hear over and over again. So I'll tell you what team I'm on. I'm on the team of be whatever you want to be, and as long as what you're putting out is giving in some way or fashion value and entertainment, then I don't think you have to niche down super tight. I don't think you need to be a real estate agent always talking about real estate. I think you need to be the real estate agent who also likes to shoot bow and arrows. And you can talk about real estate while you're shooting bow and arrows.
Yeah.
So I just think that people just overthink it way too much. And also, when you stick down to these super tight niches, your expectation of growth should be zero, because the odds are that what you're putting out is just not very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So, I'm more on the broad team.
Yeah. What I've been telling some clients that are very, very hesitant about broadening, because I'm like, you're a professional, but also you're networking. You're just not seeing someone face to face. So you have to make a human connection. And when they're hesitant about doing that on, say, TikTok or Instagram, I tell them, use your stories to bring out your personality and show what you do outside of work. Test that out, because I guarantee you're going to get a lot more comments and a lot more of that connection that everybody is striving to get when you're showing that personality, and ease yourself into it. And then you can start going and posting reels and TikToks showing your personality a bit. And so far, they've actually had a lot more fun doing it that way and just getting used to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to say that too quite a bit. Actually, I think I probably still say that sometimes. And the reason I say that is because stories, you got 24 hours, you go up there, you test it, let it go, and it leaves. But also, from a psychological standpoint, I think a lot of us spend more time in stories than we do on the actual feed in Instagram. That's just my opinion. I seem to find myself spending way more time in stories, especially now with notes in there. So the fact that they put notes in notes in the messaging portion of Instagram, which is technically the new business card, at least that's the way it's always been for me, but even more so now. And the fact that they have stories within there with notes in the messaging portion of Instagram, that excites me even more and just gives more opportunity. But I agree with you. If to test first, put some family stuff in your stories. And Clem, you know this. If you go to my Instagram stories, you'll see way more family stuff. That's where you're going to see my kids, the dog me being goofy, whatever it is. Very seldom are you going to find that on my feed. And that was just a personal preference for me, that I was just going to leave the family stuff off the feed. And you can go to my Facebook if you want to see that, but more or less you're going to see it in my stories. Yeah. Good point.
Thank you. I do come up with those sometimes.
Okay, so we've covered off this niche versus broad kind of argument. What about, this is one that Clem and I have been quite curious about personally, should we be aiming to dominate one social media channel, maybe going all in on TikTok, or should we be spreading out our content and our resources to, tackle multiple channels at once? What do you think about this one?
So since you both follow me, I know you both already know what my answer is going to be, but I'm going to give the answer to your audience, which is and don't put all your eggs in one basket, guy. Because one, I think, and this is just more recently to me when we're in the situation that we're in. I just think that a couple of these apps that are very successful right now are very susceptible to possible corruption and or complete elimination from even being available very quickly. I'll have to mention this because this happened in America, but the fact that a Chinese spy balloon was just flying over the entire portion of the United States of America, if you don't think that's directly going to affect the National Security Association looking at going, okay, we need to reassess the whole TikTok thing. If that might possibly be the nail in the coffin for TikTok, quite honestly.
Not to get political or anything, but we had a similar thing happen with Facebook here in 2019.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so, I see that there are a lot of people that do that put it all in on one, and I'm going, if it goes away, then what? So for me, and I know very much like you guys, like I follow Clem on LinkedIn, like we're on LinkedIn, we see each other on that. I know that if TikTok's gone tomorrow, I know that Clem and I are still going to be connected on Instagram, on LinkedIn. If Instagram goes away, we're still connected on LinkedIn. If Instagram goes away, we'll be connected on Facebook. So the other thing is not everybody, we use everything, but not everybody does that. And so if you can be the smaller percentage of people that are everywhere spreading your content, then what you will find later down the road, if you're consistent with that, is you will have people that will come up to you in the real world and they will say to you, I'm seeing you everywhere. And I know people have come up to you guys and said that to both of you because you guys do that. I know that for a fact. And the other side of that comes into play is that you don't know what opportunities you're missing out on. Right? So, I did that interview with TikTok. It was like probably 4 or 5 months ago. If I was just like, I'm not going to do TikTok anymore, I'm just going to leave, I wouldn't have gotten the email today that said, hey, Todd, we want to bring you back for a second round to go live with us. TikTok on TikTok again. Yeah. Right. And that's what I'm saying is like those opportunities are not happening for me over on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, but they're happening on TikTok. So yes, good while the getting is good. But if my TikTok went away tomorrow or TikTok totally went away tomorrow, it wouldn't change me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I would continue down the road.
Well, I personally have lost my Instagram account twice. Luckily, it was a mistake and I got it back each time. But the first time it happened was on day one of my course launch. So an Instagram coach launching her Instagram course loses her Instagram account. Like, just, the mental heartache of that. Sure. Luckily, I had an email list, and other ways to communicate, but it definitely had an impact on my launch. And so really it highlighted to me, because I had really been going probably a little too much, all my eggs in the Instagram basket at that stage. And then I went, all right, this is a good lesson. I've learned this the hard way, to diversify. And I know there's probably people in our audience thinking, but I don't have time. What would you say to them?
Bullshit.
I was going to cuss, but Clem told me I was probably not allowed to do that. So I didn't.
No, I did not. I said we try not to, but go and do it. You do you.
Too late now.
Clem literally took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, it's a fact. It is just like anything else that you do. We're all really, really good at things that are outside of what we do for a living, right? I can pick up a snowboard or a surfboard or a skateboard or whatever it is, and I can, I'll drop a kickflip, or I can ride a wave, or I can do a 360 on a snowboard, whatever it is, right? I can pick these things. It didn't happen immediately. I had to practice those things and get good at them, and now I can do them without even thinking. On the marketing side and the branding side, you can post to 7 different platforms within about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. If the apps are being nice and they're uploading in a, I guess even, amount of time. I know Instagram can be very annoying right now with Reels, where you're just sitting there and you guys know what, I think I made a meme out of it where it was like, don't close the app and you're just sitting there like, Jesus, this could be like 2 hours or 3 hours. And I've been there. It's repetition. It's doing it every single day. It's being consistent. And you can get to that point where you do it. But also, let's be honest here. There's tools. There's a plethora of tools that can make it easy for you to do it in one click of a button. There's repurpose.io. There's Later. There's Hootsuite. There's Metrocool. There's, Cloud Campaign. The list goes on. Pick whatever poison you want. The only problem with those tools is if you're a creator and you're posting to your personal pages, which in my opinion, they seem to perform better than the business pages. Well, those repurposing tools don't work with personal accounts. So you're going to have to get used to getting yourself into a regimen of getting up and taking that one piece of content and rolling it out on those 7 platforms and then go about your day. And as the day progresses, check in on your comments, get back to the people, check in your DMs, get back to the people. And as you build that muscle, it will become so easy. It'll be just like second nature. I'm going to get in the car tomorrow morning and I'm going to post to 4 different accounts and I'll be done by the time I leave my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I first started using Repurpose and I emailed, what is his name? Hani, the CEO of Repurpose. And I'm hoping we can get him on the podcast at one point. He seems like he'd be a really good interview to have.
I will make him go on your podcast.
Will you now?
If I will DM him and be like, you need to do the podcast.
Well, I think I might already have an in, considering I emailed him. Like, I found his email, and I think the first line of my email was, "You've just created the Henry Cavill of content creation platforms for an individual." Like, full disclosure, Henry Cavill's like my hall pass, essentially. But it's repurpose.io. It's easy to use. It makes tech really incredibly seamless. And for someone who can be very time poor or, stuff comes up all the time, if you're doing like one TikTok, if TikTok's your channel of choice and you can repost it across all your other channels and you understand that there might be some disadvantages to using repurpose in that way, such as, your TikTok video will have those captions when it goes onto Instagram versus having original Instagram captions, but you're fine with that, do it. It's going to save you that headache and you're going to be able to have that omni-channel presence. So, that's what I use. That's what several of my clients use as well. And it's so easy.
Are you running into any issues where if it's a personal account or creator account that you don't have the ability to have the repurpose go out on those accounts?
No.
Okay.
The only bottleneck that I have at the moment is if you don't own the YouTube channel and you're a manager of the YouTube channel only. So then it's obviously you have to kind of send it to the client if they're not willing to give you the login and stuff like that. But
I had a couple, not to badmouth him, but I had a couple failed posts that came through my email and I finally was like, I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I were to talk to him, he would be like, this was user error on your side. and it probably was. I feel like for me, I gotta be in the platform. I have to be in the platform because I need to know what's going on. I'm probably one of the most hyper involved per platform people on the planet. I consume way more than I create. Yeah. And I think that's what might give me a little bit of an edge over everybody else.
Yeah.
Right. That little portion right there.
Yeah. I think like Krishna and I, when our kids are older and we have more brain capacity to be able to do that, then game on. And we'll become, the Toddettes of Australia. But
all I need is one good visit.
Yeah, but for us, and like Krishna, I think you repurpose to a degree, but you don't use repurpose.io, do you?
No, not yet. And I just manually repurpose, and honestly, it doesn't take that long. I think people, they're overthinking it. So I often create something in Instagram first because, again, as an Instagram coach, that's my thing, right? That's where I am. Yeah. But I'll create, say, a reel. Immediately before I add any text, I download that. I've got a nice clean version of the video on my phone. Then I can add the text in Instagram, do whatever, post it. Then I've got that nice clean video. I upload it into TikTok and use the captions there or add my own text there so it looks native to the platform. It's nice and clean. I've still then got that on my phone. If I want to chop it, make it square and put it over on Facebook, again, it takes 2 seconds to do. I think, yeah, and this is something I'm always talking with my clients and students about. I'm like, when you create a piece of content, think about all the different platforms you've got to put it on. And at the time that you create it, make your different versions and then just you can have them on your phone. You can put them, into Google Drive if you really want, if you're sharing them, with your team or something. But if you just go and immediately, pop it into CapCut or into InShot and resize it, it's ready to go. And then next time you're sitting there going, oh, I don't have a post ready, you can just grab one of those. Like I think it's just getting into that habit, right? That we need to do more of.
I think what we're saying in the end is there's more ways to skin a cat than just
I hate that saying. It's so gross. It's so visceral.
It is kind of disgusting, but she's right. And that's the thing is that to get back to the original question, that you don't have an excuse for not being able to do it, because for every issue that you would bring up, there's a solution that has been created to solve the problem.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you just don't really want to do it. You just feel like you have to do it, which you do if you want the results that you see your friends / coworkers, whatever it is, see what they're getting and see what's happening with them. So that really is what it comes down to. It's a personal decision that you need to make. It needs to become part of your day. Just like you go to the gym, just like you get up and eat, or just like you go for a run, it needs to be part of your day. And if you do it consistently, it will become easier and easier and easier to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
Hey, Clem, just sorry, one quick thing. Just move a tiny bit back from your mic, because I keep hearing ASMR. So we'll just do a little.
Her mic is crisp.
Yeah, she just bought it this morning. We actually have the same, but of course I had to get white so it matches my branding. Is it the best microphone? No. Does it match my branding? Yes.
That's why I have the multicolored one, because
I know, right? Because it matches your background. Yeah, you're very Gen Z with your green, aren't you? Because I'm still stuck in millennial pink, and
I'm actually Gen X.
Oh, me too. But I like to think of myself as on the cusp, right? But no,
I'm the youngest one here again. It seems to happen a lot.
What are you, like 23 or something?
Such a baby.
I'm 36.
Oh, you're still a baby.
She's a baby. I'm 43. So
yeah, I'm still older than both of you, so whatever.
It's all right. It's all right. You're more successful than us, so.
That's.
We'll get there. Again, once we haven't got the little kids, that's, you've got seasons of life, right? Or again, that's another horrible phrase, isn't it? I like this little side note.
The side note for you quickly, and then I'll let you guys get to your next question. Look, I have failed way more than I've succeeded too. Like bankruptcy, 3 or 4 failed businesses, broke, homeless, car repossessed in front of a client. Like, not an easy road. So, I always tell people you that's why I try to share all that to really bring to light a lot of people, because I think they see a lot of people maybe in the position or in that line position where I am right now, and they might go, he's lucky, he just got it. They didn't see all that, and I feel like I gotta share that stuff so I can be like, wherever you are in that moment now, and you see where I'm at, don't think that you're not going to go skyrocketing past me when it's your moment. I had a phone call, believe it or not, during COVID with D-Rock at 2:30 in the morning. If you guys don't know who D-Rock is Gary Vaynerchuk's like main guy, right-hand man when it comes to creating content. He called me like 2 in the morning. I'm pretty sure he was drunk at the time. We had a few beers, but we had a conversation for probably about 2 or 3 hours.
Wow.
And he had went through my content, and he was like, dude, your stuff is so good. It's so good. And he's like, when it's your time, it's going to be like, it's going to blow up. And we still talk. And he's like, dude, you're still not your time, but wait, man, just wait till what happens. And so when hearing that from someone like that, watching my content, and then that led to me doing stuff with Jason in 137, and then me and Jason doing stuff together now, who is like was D-Rock's like right hand guy, and now he's running V Friends Jason kind of joined our team and everything. And so, all these things happen as time progresses, and it just might not be happening just because it's happening to you or to me at 44, and it hasn't happened to you at 43 or you at 36 doesn't mean it's not going to happen at 37, 38. And then shit goes sideways with me at 46 and I'm working for you.
You never know, right?
That's why I don't say no to people. That's why I don't not DM people back. That's why I don't say no when someone wants to ask me to come on their podcast. I don't do that because I have no clue where I'm going to be. And when I do fuck up or fail or something goes sideways, I want people to go, "Hey, Todd, you've done enough. We got you." Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Just like I would do for anybody else. So,
and our moments of glory could be totally different as well. It's our own interpretation of what that moment of glory is.
Yeah, we always, they always talk about how you should see the highlight reel. I like this whole, how many years did it take you to become an overnight success? I think that's always really telling, right? Because there's always all the years, like you said, the failure, the homelessness. That's a pretty big one. You and Rachel Peterson, you got that in common, right? Yeah.
It happens, man. I mean, look, it's all, but you're right, Clements, in perspective. I just had a client text me and say, I had to take that post down. My team leader didn't like the post. It said it doesn't fit my behavior or whatever. That he was sitting on the toilet and he's a real estate agent. He was sitting on the toilet, literally, probably the side cheek was showing. He was hoping I'm finishing on the toilet before the person comes to take a look at the house. And the team leader made him but it got so much engagement and it's real life. And it got the team leader is a little bit older, and he's like, "Take that down. It doesn't bode well for your brand, this and everything." Meanwhile, the video is going, and he had to take it down. And I looked at him and I said, "That right there, dude. That right there is the difference between you and I. You might be a highly successful real estate agent making $1 million a year. I don't have a fucking boss. So whatever. If I want to post me taking a crap on the toilet, I'm going to post it, and no one's going to tell me to take it down." So are you really free? Are you really happy? No, you're really upset and pissed off right now.
Oh man,
That's tough.
So okay, let's get back to the interview.
Sorry.
If we're going to talk about controversial content such as sitting on the toilet while you're filming and whatnot, you have spoken about. I've seen this TikTok or a couple of TikToks. You've done a few TikToks about Donald Trump. One person that I absolutely cannot stand. But anyway, I digress. So you talk about sharing that controversial content and how it could actually really benefit a business and a brand. Can you tell our audience a little bit more about what that strategy is and why it works?
Yeah, the reason it works is because of what you just did and said. Your reaction, where you didn't have to say that, but you said it. You had to let your audience know, and you had to let me know that you don't like him.
But I agree. I agree with one of the points you said on one of the TikToks, though.
Right? But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But me knowing that he, just his picture alone, can drive people insane. Me knowing that, I know that button will be pushed, good or bad. I'm getting comments, I'm getting engagement out of that. I know that is something that he is a topic of conversation that will bring to light engagement on the post in whatever way that I utilize it. So the post that you're talking about is where I found a story that was interesting and I told the story. I didn't say that I supported Donald Trump. I didn't say that I liked Donald Trump. I just told a story and then asked for your opinions in the comments section, and people went absolutely ballistic. Now, a video prior to that, the first time that I posted that video, by the way, I called my shot and said, I'm going to post this video, and it's going to go viral. Watch. And it did. And so for me, that was proof that bringing not necessarily a controversial topic, but bringing a person that even might be controversial and reporting on that person, not necessarily giving your opinion, but reporting on that person will get people heated or defensive or offensive for that person, defensive for that person or offensive on your side, to get into the comment section to let people know where they stand on that person. So it creates engagement. And at the end of the day, if I psychologically know that I'm showing his face up front in the first 3 to 5 seconds, I got you. You're not going anywhere.
It's a brilliant hook. Yeah.
It's a brilliant hook. I don't even need to say anything.
We'll link to this. We'll link to Todd's TikTok in the show notes as well. So you can go and have a look for yourself and see exactly how that worked. But yeah, are there any Andrew Tate gifts going around that we can just start adding to our stories?
I did a video on Andrew Tate too. And it was wasn't as successful as Trump. But again, at the time, Andrew and his brother were being arrested. And I knew that I could create a piece of content utilizing the Tates to grab onto that attention at that moment and create some content around that, right? Whether indifferent, doesn't matter what I think about them. At the end of the day, I know that that's going to get an emotion, a transference of emotion out of you to me. So I got what I wanted.
Yeah. And this is why people
without even offending you.
Well, yeah. And this is why people use GIFs, right? Because you got these funny celebrity GIFs, these pop culture moments. Yeah, it's about evoking that emotion just through that image. And so, yeah, that's really interesting. Bit of controversial content. We're going to have to think of something now. Try to my own account.
I'll give your audience a tip on looking for that. Go to the news section on Twitter, go to Google, and then click the news section, or go to Google and then go to trending, or Google.trending, I believe, is the website. And you can typically find things that are, if they're trending on Google, then typically you can grab that trending Google content, kind of in some way, kind of mesh it into what you do for a living. And if you can do that, you can typically hit some pretty decent numbers. And sometimes there's got to be a little bit of more research involved, but you'll know as you start getting into it, you're going, oh man, this is going to be good. And that's when you start getting that feeling where you're like, I can call my shot on this one. I can literally Babe Ruth it and point. I know it's going to hit. And I've done that a couple times where I'm like, my editor will bring me a video and I'm like, dude, that's going to hit. The Cameron Seaford one, I knew that was going to hit. The time that I was kind of snarky to that girl in the audience, this was a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. I knew that was going to hit. I knew that was going to piss off girls. She'd be like, hey, it's such a misogynist. He's talking to a girl that way. No, I'm not talking to a girl. If it was a guy, it doesn't matter who. It's the point that she said, how do I break the algorithm? That's a stupid question. It has nothing to do with if you're a girl or a guy. That's just a dumb question.
You know, I saw that video and I didn't think you were being misogynistic. I thought you were being a parent.
Yeah.
Honestly. You were calling out this person for asking something that is completely irrelevant. You cannot break an algorithm. There's no hack. No. There's no loophole. No. You cannot break a script of code. You
can't.
Unfortunately,
trial and error is. Yeah. You're right, Clem. It's trial and error. That's how I figured out the YouTube Shorts thing. And everyone was like, "Wow, God, I can't get any views on YouTube Shorts." And I'm like, add a couple hashtags and make the copy just a little bit shorter. Go 5 to 10 seconds on the videos, not 15 seconds or 60 seconds. The minute they do that, all of a sudden they're like, "Holy crap, I got 2,000 views!" And I'm like, "Wow, it's crazy." But the way that I did that is we were just talking about teenagers being a parent, right? That's why my patience level is here now. And why if someone does ask me a stupid question in the audience, I'm going to snap at them like I'm someone's grandfather.
This is what we have to look forward to, Krishna.
100%. 13-year-old daughter, 16-year-old boy, plus 2 younger ones that are just nipping at your heels while those 2 are hating on you? Absolutely.
Yeah. Clem, you're not 40 yet. Once you hit 40, you're going to be angry. And that's...
Oh, so angry.
Fuck that.
It's a whole new level.
Right. It's like the wool's been pulled off your eyes, and you know how like you might be left leaning. All of a sudden, you get to your 40s, and you're getting to be older, and you're just going, I don't like these people. I don't like anybody.
You start relating to the boomers.
Oh, yeah. God. That's exactly what my husband's like. He's 42, and I'm like, this really is gonna be me. I feel like I'm already kind of at that point, but. You know, maybe I'll cross the edge a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think safety is in the middle nowadays. To get back to what I was saying, the frustration level gets to the point where it's like, if you don't explain to them that in that way, I don't think they're going to get it, because no one's explained it to them in that way. Where somebody put that in her mind that somebody said you can break the algorithm. Someone said that to her, and that's where she got that from. Now, when it came to the YouTube side of things, what I did is I had all 4 kids, I had them watch YouTube Shorts, and I just sat there and watched them and how they were consuming the content. If they would stop on a video, I'd say, why did you stop on that video? Then I would look at the video, watch the video, and then look at the amount of time that was in the video. Where was their text on the screen? I was really diving deep on the channel. And because I knew that the shorts monetization side was coming up, I knew that I don't try to force people to create YouTube channels, because personally, I've tried multiple times. My attention deficit disorder just will not let me create a 10-minute fucking video on YouTube. I just can't do it. And then I can't wait for my editor for 6 days for him to edit the video for me to upload it. I can't do it. So shorts was good for me. And once I started testing and I was hitting 10, 5, and there were thousands of views, I'm going, I got to tell everybody about this. And I did. And then people started hitting me up and like, dude, you were right. That to me was the right way to do things. That was me testing and trying and taking the L for other people so I could figure out if it worked. And once it worked, I still put 60-second shorts up though, because there is going to be a time where that 60 seconds is going to start hitting. And when that starts hitting, I'm going to tell her to be like, guys, now drop them. Drop all those 60-second TikToks and Instagram Reels that you had. Start dropping them on your YouTube Shorts. And the second that happens, I'm going to tell everybody. Because that's what's going to end up happening. Longer form content over there.
But you're going to tell us first, right?
Yeah, tell us first.
If you follow me, let's put it this way. If you follow me, you're going to know first. So,
yes,
just watch the content. I'm not hiding anything.
All right. Okay. So back to what we were talking about. So controversial. I think you've also perhaps answered one of our quick fire questions that we had, because we were going to ask you about TikTok versus Reels versus YouTube Shorts. But it sounds like YouTube Shorts is really where we should be focusing our attention as kind of that emerging channel at the moment. Would love to know, because I know that you are a big fan of going live, and that worked for you really, really well in terms of your TikTok growth and kind of getting those sudden jumps, in your channel. Do you still recommend that as a strategy for 2023, or is there something else at the moment that's perhaps working better or just as well as going live?
I think what you guys are doing right now is the second best thing that you can do to going live, is producing your own show, which technically is if you're going live, you're still doing the same thing. You're producing your own show. But if you can't produce your own show and you don't want to go live, then I would say, because Spotify and, of course, these other podcast channels are going to have the ability. I know Spotify already does, because I do it, is when I put up my podcast, there's video attached to it, so you can watch the podcast while you're listening to it, which I think really keeps people on the platform much, much longer. I think that is the second best way to create it. I was watching a video, Vanessa Lau, I believe her name is, great girl, absolutely loved her, liked watching her come up with another girl, I can't remember her name, but she was basically her mentor. But I've always liked Vanessa's delivery on things, and I think she's very good, trustworthy, honest. She's got some good opinions about things. We don't agree on everything, but I think I do respect her in the game. And she had a mastermind at some point where she had a guy that came in and he was talking about how many people were on TikTok and Instagram and everything else like that, and talking about how many people go live on YouTube and all this other stuff. Then he talked about the really small, minute number of people that have podcasts. And then if you started niching down the podcasts, really what your competition is very minimal. And I think that is really where the opportunity still lies. I think that podcasts were hot, then they really weren't. And then when you started dropping the video side into podcasts, that right there is what started bringing it back around. And I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of big opportunities, you guys included, that if you can stay consistent with it and you start building up your guests and you get more and more and more and more guests on that are you're leveraging their followers and their followers and their followers, you can really put yourself into a really tight and good position to create opportunities for yourself. Right? Just like your live videos would do for you, to create relationships, just like your live videos would do with you. More followers, same thing. Leverage other people's followers, same thing. So I think that is a nice sweet hack that will last for years, not just 2023. I think moving forward, that's going to be a really good way to go is own production, your own podcast production and TV, things like that.
Side question about that, because you've mentioned Spotify, and we did
I'm sponsored by Spotify.
Oh, are you now?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to figure out how to have that happen, Krishla.
One day.
Yeah.
Because I started a podcast in like 2016. That's the only reason I did.
Yeah, it's time. So we did a trends and predictions episode a few episodes back, and one of the predictions that I said was TikTok was going to take on Spotify. I mean, obviously they're a huge endorsement of artists, and we've seen a lot of artists explode, and even ones from 40 years ago explode and coming back onto the charts because of TikTok. But also there were things going on that I saw, such as trademarks being filed here in Australia. TikTok Music is actually live in India, Pakistan, I think in Singapore. And then I saw a job opening here in Sydney of a content music librarian for TikTok Music. And there were a few other things that had happened. There was even news articles about it going on in November about how TikTok was looking to make moves to take on Spotify. What you've just said about adding a video to a podcast just sounds like it's a perfect blend for TikTok Music and TikTok and what their next step could be.
Yeah, and I think even if they were to add in like the promote feature into that, where like let's say you put out your podcast and then you have the ability to run a promote or like a quote unquote boosted post behind it to get it into more news feeds. Not only that, if you're going live with your podcast at the exact same time it's dropping into the news feed, I think it's a big opportunity. Do I think that they're going to be? I think it would take a couple years for them to really get the respect factor that Spotify has with guys like look. With Joe Rogan, having Joe Rogan is like having Howard Stern on satellite radio. You're just not going to knock them off unless you were to get somebody like him. If TikTok were to grab the girl, that does Call Her Daddy, then that's a different situation, right? But they would have to get they would have to bring a home run hitter onto that to be the head of the table, if you were, to be their team leader or whatever it is. But it's a good opportunity. I can tell you that I would do it. I mean, there's no question. I will always jump, and I'm sure you guys will too. It's anytime that you have an opportunity that you can, and they give you an opportunity to do something on the platform, do it. There's a reason why they release those things. They want you to use it. If you use it, if you're one of the first people to use it, you're going to get the opportunities that other people don't. Just like when you're on this platform before everybody else. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I think that's where things are going. So, and then YouTube could probably get in the game with that as well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, they already have the video component. They just need to get the audio part to it, which wouldn't be that difficult, I don't think.
Yeah, I just
say
think
that.
YouTube, I just don't know if YouTube is that team seems to be very stuck in their ways, and they're like, you were saying boomer before. I think they're the boomer of the social media world. They just refuse to like change or evolve in any way. I mean, people talk about that as Facebook, but Facebook's evolved quite a bit. In my opinion, I don't know. Do you guys have Facebook Reels in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah, and mine have been popping off. They've been going nuts.
Mine too. And I mean, I started doing them immediately when they came out, and in America, and I was like, dude, they were just going nuts. I mean, they were overperforming everything.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, and they still really kind of do. So, people say Facebook's dead, and I said in a video 3 years ago, I'm like, dude, it's never going to die. It's just going to continue to evolve.
Yeah.
You can make fun of it all you want, but it's going to continue to evolve into different iterations, and whatever's hot at the time, they're going to jump on. And, it's not stupid. You can't beat them.
I think people. I mean, I'm anti-Facebook. It's not my preferred social channel of choice.
Sure.
But people underestimate the power that it actually does have, not just in terms of being one of the biggest digital ads markets, but also just the almost control that it can have on our lives. Going back to, say, like when we were talking about the TikTok ban, and I said we went through something similar with Facebook here. I don't know if it ever got to the States or anything, but the government here tried to actually kind of get a piece of the pie, I think, of the ad revenue with Google and Facebook. And Facebook just went, that's not going to happen. And they kept trying to insist, and they were going to put a bill on the floor, and Facebook just went, all right, turn off every single government page and news page on Facebook. Shut them down. And they did. In the process of doing that, several not-for-profits, charities, and small businesses pages were just gone overnight. They did it for, I think, 2 days until Parliament went and said, okay, we'll take this back. We do need to speak about this sort of thing, but we won't be doing this because obviously you guys have a lot more power than we thought you did. It's they underestimated what the impact that Facebook could have on them in terms of marketing their own institutions, and how maybe they should collaborate a little bit better with them in the long run.
I mean, that's the power that these platforms have. And quite honestly, the power of the platform is only powerful because of the people that are creating content for it. If we were to leave, you can see that. Look at Twitter. So the power of the platform can change quickly. I'm sure Clem has a severe opinion about Elon Musk as well.
I think he's entertaining, to be honest.
The guy's a genius, but again, you can hate him, and you can dislike him, but he does, again, one of the things that I personally respect, male or female, is that you say the quiet part out loud. And you've created the FU money for yourself to be able to say the loud part out loud and be able to deal with the blowback of saying the quiet part out loud. Do I agree with everything that he's doing on the platform? No. Do I respect the fact that he does say the things that he does? Yes, but I also know that he is so intelligent that a majority of the time he is saying those things to get a reaction out of people that are less intelligent, and he finds that humorous and entertaining for himself. And I don't think everybody understands that.
Yeah. Let that sink in. Yeah. Right.
You're dumb, he's smart. And if you get mad about it and you hate him and you get irritated by him, then you gave him exactly what he wanted from you.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, Todd, I am just aware of the time here, so we'll just start wrapping things up. We do have a few little quick fire questions for you. So this one, Clem, you tell me this one because I don't know what this is.
The second one? Oh, okay. PBR or Yingling?
I don't drink beer or alcohol at all. I haven't drank in 9 years. But if I were going to choose PBR gives me a headache. It is cooler looking. It's a cooler brand. But I would go with Yingling for drinking if I was going to get wasted.
Fun fact, last time I bought PBR in the States, it was a 24-pack for, I think, about $10 at 7-Eleven. Last time I saw PBR here, it was a 24-pack for $70.
Yeah. Either way, you're getting your bang for your buck because it is a guaranteed hangover that you will never forget.
Just get a bowl of champagne and be done with it, I say. Yeah. Okay, Todd, if you could choose just one channel and one content type, what would it be and why? I know, it's a hard one. Gut feeling.
I'm going to go with TikTok just because it's been the kindest to me. And I think the way that content is delivered to me, this is not from a creation standpoint, more from a content consumption standpoint, the way that it delivers the content that I'm into at that moment, at that time. And it's so good at giving me new channels to follow based on that interest immediately. That's what I would go with. And if other platforms can really start to kind of hone in on that, I think that would be great. Side note, 2 things that I would add. TikTok, if you can do an update in quarter 2 or quarter 3 of when you open up TikTok, it automatically is muted and not playing the music out loud. That would be sick. And Instagram, if you could go and get when people go live on Instagram, if you could start taking the lives and throwing them into the news feed, that would get more people to go live on Instagram. So those are 2 updates that I would give that are so sick. If they did it, it would be huge, but they won't listen to me.
It'd be so good. Or remember when you used to go live on Instagram and then it would be up in your stories for 24 hours?
It still is. But I think if the live video was playing in the newsfeed, I think it would bring so much more opportunity to people on Instagram and more people would go live there. No question about it.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Old Bay or Ranch?
Old Bay.
Yes!
I'm from Maryland.
Okay, for our Australian listeners, Clem, for our Australian listeners, what is Old Bay?
All right. Well, I'm from Norfolk, Virginia, so I'm not that far from you, actually. Well, originally. Old Bay it's like our version of chicken salt. Have you heard of chicken salt?
Yeah, it's like seasonal.
Yeah, it's like Lowry's seasonal. Yeah. So you can now find Old Bay at Woolworths or Woolies. I think they're testing it out as a new import product. You can get, I think it's a 350-gram bottle for $20. It's insane.
However, in Baltimore, in Maryland, people prefer a company called J.O. Spice over Old Bay. So that's something to take into consideration. If you were to try J.O. Spice, you would throw Old Bay out the window.
Really? I'm going to have to do that.
You ever had Maryland crabs? That's not Old Bay on Maryland crabs. That's J.O. Spice.
No way.
Yes way. And you can order them online, by the way, if you want to do that.
Oh. Well, I might have to because I'm running low on Old Bay now. I've had to get my mom to send it over in the past, and hopefully customs just don't look at it and go, "Oh, that's drugs." But
not like marijuana.
Yeah, they probably open it and just like, "What the hell is this?
Is this oregano?"
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, good. I'm glad that we're on Team Old Bay. That's good. Krishla, do you wanna ask the final rapid fire question?
I will. And before I do, I'd just like to say, Todd, thank you so much for joining us. It has been incredible. Thank you, as I said earlier, for helping us make episode 10 a reality, because there was some crazy stat going around about the number of podcasts that flop before they get to 10 episodes. So at least we won't be one of those statistics.
No.
Can't wait till we get to 100. We'll have you back for the 100th episode. But my final question to you, official final question, is give us your 2023 content marketing prediction. Is there something that you kind of see coming up, something new that you think may come onto the market that we haven't yet thought of?
I think with the success of Instagram Notes, and that it's tapped into the older demographic on Instagram, from what I've heard, that note section is going to be in some way connected to a private audio / video section inside the messaging portion of Instagram. So kind of like a video version of Clubhouse.
Right. Okay.
So that might even be more 2024 future proofing kind of thing there, but that's what I say. As far as 2023 content, I think I hit the spot when we were talking prior, but I think the big things are this: leveraging other people's content. So use in-app features like Stitch, TikTok, or Remix on Instagram. Use the duet feature, especially if there's a piece of content on the other side that is visually appealing and interesting, to kind of get that watch time to the portion of where you needed to get to that second or third level within the platform. And then I think, again, what you both are doing, creating content outside the platforms that can be utilized to create audiences on the platforms. And I think if you can kind of focus those little things where you're leveraging a lot of what other people are doing onto your own, I think that can be the game changer for a lot of people in 2023, not only from content stubbornness creation issue, but also from a standpoint of finally getting some growth.
Excellent. Oh, I like that. I do need to do some more duets, I have to say, or stitches. Yes. I'm going to add that to my to-do list. Make a commitment for this week to do one. Okay.
Well, Todd,
you're more than welcome to remix or stitch me or duet me all you want.
Yes. All right. Will do.
Todd.
Good night, Mike.
That was horrible.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please don't do that again.
We'll have to practice your Aussie accent if I come round to the States this year, Todd.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
I'll teach you a few of the Aussie slang terms that I've learned over the years that are so bad yet so great.
I need to go watch Crocodile Dundee again.
Oh my god, no!
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Oh god.
That's what he said.
I feel like one of your kids right now, being a bit embarrassed for you.
That's what they do. They do that. They do that. I'm not gonna lie. They're definitely like, dude, no, you're not.
I love it. Look, and neither of us are Australian, so we're not offended, to be honest.
No, I'm just gonna offend all your Australian listeners now. They're like,
fine.
they heard this whole episode. They were like, dude, we love Todd. They heard that. And they're like, dude, screw this guy.
Yeah,
Cancel.
your TikTok following is just dipping right now.
Dipping so far. Oh my Australian. Lost him.
Todd, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. This has been well and truly like I don't know, this has been a moment of glory, I think, for me for a little bit. So not to boost your ego any further or anything, but
I appreciate that.
No, but thank you so much. And yeah, if you are ever out here in Australia, let us know. We'll make sure that none of our native animals kill you. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm usually in Australia 2-3 times a year, so yeah.
Oh,
no, never.
Oh, okay.
But I would love to go one day.
Well, look, let us know. Let us know.
We'll give you some recommendations.
Awesome, love it.
Awesome.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And go and rest now. Ready for your flight. Yeah.
Oh God.